Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here. And we are coming to you from the Grand Hotel, and that's because that's where the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce chooses to have their annual policy conference. And a lot of the talk at the policy conference this year is about workforce development and education. So we have Dr. Robert McMahan, the president of Kettering University. It's so good to see you again. How you doing?
Really great to see you. Thank you so much for having
And you know what else? You're smiling again. So your job must be easy.
me. Oh, higher education is a challenge these days, but it's a very rewarding one.
Well, I'll tell you what I just found, and I have a great deal of admiration for it, but I know now why you're still in education. You still teach.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And it's how I recharge because that's after all what we're about.
Yeah.
And it's what many of us went into higher education for, was that interaction with students and just being able to have a small part in their development and their lives is incredibly rewarding.
Well, it is. And if you're fortunate enough to ever run into them later,
That's right.
like you said, if you can place them, but you hear that. You made a difference in my life.
You hear, every once in a while you'll have somebody come up, sometimes an adult with children of their own who come up to you and say,
Yeah.
you changed the way I think about things in
Yeah.
your class. And it's affected me ever since. That, how could, what could be better than that?
Well, you could say to any audience, think about who's influenced your life.
That's right.
And there's a teacher in there.
There's always a teacher in the
Yeah,
mix.
there really
Yeah.
is. All right, so tell me about that. Now, curriculum changes, et cetera, because in my community, the business community, we changed about 7% per annum,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So you've got to change with that to an extent.
Well, we do, but it's interesting because we're unique in higher education in the United States. The way that we teach
Right.
goes back to our history with Jerome Moses Institute and et cetera. The fact that our students are away, they go in this rotation. They start in professional placements from their very first year with us, and so they're 12 weeks on campus, 12 weeks in as an engineer, as a bench scientist somewhere, working with in a
And
professional
that
environment.
used to be all General Motors, but
Used to be all gentlemen. No, we
yeah,
work with 400 companies worldwide. So it's in all industries across everything from finance to jet engines to pharmaceuticals
yeah.
to biomechanical devices, all sorts of things.
Wow.
And but the interesting thing about that is our students come back every 12 weeks from being professional engineers
Yeah.
in a world-class organization. We get evaluated by those students and say, we need to be doing this, or we need to have these resources because that's what's happening in industry.
When they bring practice.
They bring best practices back. They bring their team building skills. They bring a lot of things back. But it is like being evaluated every 12 weeks. We don't have to wait for a student to graduate after 4 years, go out, get a job to find out that we're not teaching the right things. We find out regularly what we need to be doing. And so we're able to update our curriculum in a continuous way.
So tell me about your relationship with these companies that you deal with, because this turns out to be an extended, much more professional internship, basically. I would suspect your placement ability with graduates is pretty high.
It's very high. Well, it's the students, like I said, start in their freshman year and they go into this rotation with these companies. The companies, so I guess in a way it's humbling recognition by the founders of the university, because what they said is that there's a lot that you need to learn to be a professional that you can't learn in a university. And so we're going to make the professional world part of our school. And they did this by collaborating with all these companies and bringing students in the mix. And so the students really get all of that onboarding stuff, all of the acclimation out of the way as part of their co-op
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So by the time they graduate, they have 2.5 years of professional development, professional experience.
Yeah.
And so they're ready to go. And a lot of our students graduate into supervisory roles. Their first role out of college
Wow.
is to supervise, 30 other engineers because they've been in those
Yeah.
environments for so long.
Well, they've built up what, 4 years of
Yeah,
actual work.
work experience,
Yeah.
and they've gotten, they've got promotions. They've seen different operating groups within the company. They've they understand the company culture,
Yeah.
how it works, how to leverage the organization to move ideas through them. All of those things that we say students really need to be competitive and to be fully contributing, they learn as part of their education with us at Kettering.
Well, Doctor, I would suggest that probably these kids come back and bring you enough influence that sometimes curriculum changes. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
thinking of things like AI,
Absolutely. And because we not only it's not only a kind of a theory for us in that way, we see how the companies are using it and we get that feedback about this is how we need and it changes the whole dynamic in a classroom because we'll have a faculty member who will say, Jane, I know, they're in some fluid mechanics course and
right?
they say, Jane, I know that you were working in the cryogenic wind tunnel at this company. How do you
What did
apply
you?
this? How do you apply this in your work there? Because this is relevant. And they'll say, well, we don't use it quite like that. We use this approximation because it works better for us.
Yeah.
But that kind of dialogue is incredible.
Keeps you current.
Yeah, it keeps you
It's
current.
unbelievable. Dr. Robert McMahan, it's always good to see you, man.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
President of Kettering University, and you are watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network, which is coming to you today from the Grand Hotel and the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce's annual policy conference. We'll be right back. I'm Chris Holman.